The hospital corridors were unusually quiet that afternoon, broken only by the soft beeping of machines and the faint footsteps of nurses moving from room to room. Outside room 214, a young woman named Ariba sat resting on her bed, her hand gently placed on her stomach as she listened to her baby's heartbeat through the monitor. She was 8 months pregnant, exhausted, and emotionally drained, not just from the pregnancy, but from all the storms life had pushed her through during the last few months. Her husband, Saad, stood near the window pretending to scroll on his phone, though his mind was clearly somewhere else. The air between them felt heavy, filled with words that had never been spoken and emotions that had never fully healed. Their marriage had once been full of laughter and dreams, but recently, cracks had started to appear like tiny fractures in glass, too small to notice at first, but dangerous when ignored. Ariba had known something was wrong long before Saad ever admitted it. Late nights, emotional distance, short replies, disguised phone calls, the kind of behavior that slowly eats at the heart. When the truth finally came out, it didn't arrive with screaming or shouting. It arrived with silence, which somehow hurt even more. Saad confessed that someone else had entered his life during a difficult phase when both of them were emotionally distant. He said it was a mistake. He said he never meant for things to go that far. He said he wanted to fix it. But words, once spoken, do not simply disappear. They leave scars, even when healing begins. Ariba chose not to shout. She chose not to create chaos. She simply turned away and held onto her unborn child, the only pure thing no one could take from her. Now, weeks later, complications in her pregnancy had brought her to the hospital for observation. She had barely slept, not because of the pain, but because of the overthinking. The what-ifs, the fear of the future, the question of whether broken relationships could ever truly be repaired. Just when she was beginning to drift into a light sleep, a sudden tension filled the air. A nurse opened the door slowly and whispered, "Ma'am, someone is here to see you." Ariba looked confused. She hadn't told anyone except Saad and her mother. Before she could respond, the door opened wider, and a woman stepped inside. She wasn't loud, she wasn't dramatic, she simply stood there, confident, composed, and strangely calm. Ariba recognized her instantly. Her heart didn't race, it sank. Saad's body stiffened. For a brief moment, none of them spoke. The woman finally broke the silence. "I'm not here to fight," she said quietly. "I'm here to end something, not start another." Ariba slowly sat up. "I never wanted to come like this," the woman continued. "Especially not here, but I realized that if I didn't face this situation with dignity, it would destroy more lives than just mine." Her name was Sana, the woman Saad once couldn't bring himself to forget. Sana wasn't dressed for drama. No heavy makeup, no sharp tone, no attitude, just tired eyes and a voice that carried regret more than pride. "I was selfish," she admitted. "Not because I tried to take someone's husband, but because I let loneliness convince me I deserved something that was never mine." Saad lowered his head. "I won't justify myself," she continued. "People like to blame the other woman. Sometimes they should, sometimes they shouldn't, but I'm here because I don't want to be part of your scars forever." Ariba didn't speak. Her fingers trembled slightly. Sana took a few steps forward, leaving a respectful distance. "I found out about your pregnancy," she said softly. "And something hit me. I imagined the day that child asks about her parents. I imagined the kind of story they deserve. And then I realized, this story shouldn't be about my mistake." She reached into her bag and gently placed something on the side table. "It was a letter. I wrote this for your daughter," she said, her eyes already filled with tears. If life ever brings this truth to the surface, she should know that not all wrongdoers run away. Some choose to step back and let others walk forward in peace. The room fell silent again. Saad finally spoke. "Sana, why?" She gave him a sad smile. "Because loving someone doesn't mean destroying what they already have. I confused attachment with love. And real love, I've learned, knows when to leave." The words hung in the air, heavy yet healing. Ariba felt something unexpected. Not anger, not jealousy, but clarity. For months she had imagined scenes like this filled with shouting, insults, maybe even chaos. But reality had taken a different path, one she never thought possible. Sana slowly backed away toward the door. "I wish you both peace," she said. "Not because you owe me forgiveness, but because I owe myself honesty." As the door closed behind her, the room felt lighter. Not because the pain was gone, but because the truth had finally settled. Ariba turned toward Saad, her voice soft but firm. This doesn't erase what happened, she said. But it opens a new chapter. Whether you become part of it, depends on what you choose from today onward, not yesterday. Saad's eyes filled with regret. I don't deserve another chance, he whispered. Maybe not, she replied. But this child deserves parents who grow, not repeat. He nodded slowly. Days passed. Ariba delivered a healthy baby girl. As she held her for the first time, feeling her tiny fingers wrap around her own, she felt strength surge through her body, a strength she never knew she had. Not the strength of anger. The strength of understanding. Weeks later, while organizing her hospital bag, Ariba found Sana's letter again. She hesitated, then opened it. Inside was a simple message. One day, life may tell you that people fail. But don't let it teach you that love fails too. Forgiveness is not for the ones who hurt you. It's for the peace you deserve. Ariba folded the letter carefully and placed it back. She didn't know what life would bring. But she knew one thing for certain. Pain doesn't always come to destroy. Sometimes it comes to teach. And not every drama ends in chaos. Some end in reflection. Some end in growth. Some end in quiet strength. And sometimes, the most powerful life lessons don't come from those who stayed, but from those who knew when to leave.